You know, I was supposed to go to Los Angeles, but I wanted to make an emergency stop in Tulsa because we're at a moment in time where we have a series of complex issues that need to get solved in a very timely manner, so to speak. And when you have a series of complex issues and problems to solve, you really have two choices. You can remain with the status quo, which is apparently and crystal clear that it's not going to solve these complex problems for us. Or we can begin to change and select people who are bold problem solvers. Now, I fall into the latter category in terms of how I'm choosing to select candidates this year. This 2022 election is going to defy a lot of people's expectations. Throw everything out the window about what you know about off-year elections. Because we're in a different cycle. Everything is elevated. There's more hypertension and focus and awareness of issues. So this whole, well, maybe a lot of people won't participate. No. We saw record turnout in 2020. We're going to see that kind of number again in 2022. Whether it will rival the presidential election is still to be determined. But I guarantee you it's going to be the largest turnout in any midterm American election history. I guarantee you, 2022, a tsunami of people are going to turn out and vote. So I want to set the stage between your choices here. And I said, let me go to Tulsa because Tulsa and Oklahoma at large plays a central role in this choice. You know, some people will say, oh, Oklahoma is a conservative state. And that's true, it is. You can be philosophically conservative and feel that this modern day Republican Party is anything but conservative. Look, the concept and principle of conservatism as a philosophy and theory is not necessarily bad in and of itself. It's good to conserve things. Conservation. But taken to an extreme, as this modern Republican Party does today, it's not necessarily the best thing to do, especially at this time. Look, why are Republican candidates, ask yourself this, why are they taking credit for the infrastructure legislation? They didn't vote for it. Why are they taking credit for things that are getting built in their congressional districts? Had they had their way, none of those things would be getting done. They chose not to vote for it. They didn't want to make the investment. They're playing it conservative. Now, you look outside. You know you have a crisis, a supply and demand issue. We don't manufacture enough things to supply our consumers. So you need to build infrastructure. Now, you would think that if you're a congressperson in a district and you know that you have things that you want to get built, things that need to be done, it would be a no-brainer for you to vote for an infrastructure bill. But that infrastructure bill wouldn't have gotten done if it wasn't solely for Democrat support. Look it up. They all voted against it, the Republican Party. So what would they rather do, you say, than actually provide resources to the people? Well, they've chosen to fight cultural wars. And what are cultural wars? Well, you can think of it like this. It's 2022. Any advancements and societal norms and expectations that we now take for granted, fringe elements of the conservative movement want to roll back those societal norms and expectations that we've, for the most part, all agreed to. What do I mean by that? Allowing women to, get divorced. They want to roll that back. J.D. Vance said this. He thinks it's been detrimental to allow women to get divorced from abusers. And then you go and look at all the stories. They want to talk about violence and crime. But you know what they don't want to talk about? Domestic violence. That's not happening just in urban areas, Democrat-run cities. It's happening all across rural America, suburban America. That's something conservatives won't get up at a rally and talk about. Domestic violence. It's happening a lot in Oklahoma. It's through the roof, the numbers. We need bold problem solvers. The status quo is not going to work. Your current governor, Kevin Stitt, where's the criticism coming from? Is your first thought. You have to think about this. Where's the criticism coming from of the current governor of Oklahoma? Is it coming from far leftists? Well, the few that do live in Oklahoma, probably. But the vast majority of criticism of this current governor, my understanding, is coming from moderate and independent women, Oklahomans, who are just a little tired of the extremes winning the day for the state. You know, Governor Stitt was one of the first governors that decided that he wanted to make something that was not in school, and something that should be banned. He said critical race theory is destructive to the American educational system. Yada, 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 something like that. And then he signed some executive order saying that it won't be taught in the schools. It wasn't being taught. They did an investigation. They said there was like one ethnic studies at a university, and hardly no one took the course. But yet he said, you know, you can't even offer that one course at a university. Now, that's kind of extreme, because what happened to freedom of speech? These are the people that say they're for the First Amendment. And then he goes and signs an executive order saying that the University of Oklahoma cannot teach a college course. Seems a little extreme to me. And then there was Julius Jones. This man has been in prison for life with no chance of parole for something that, well, there's no actual evidence to definitively distinguish the fact that he did the crime. And yet he's in prison for life with no chance of parole. And the state of Oklahoma was set to execute this man earlier this year. And at the very last moment, the governor decided he was going to do a stay. He waited to the very last moment. Now his own state parole board that he himself assembled recommended a pardon and clemency. And yet, he waited to the last moment, to the point where even certain individuals in his family don't speak with him because they feel like he's a fringe extremist and doesn't govern for all of Oklahoma, but a tiny sliver, a fringe. Now ask yourself, is that going to solve problems now and moving forward for Oklahoma and for our country? I don't think so. It's what we have. It's the status quo. And like I said at the onset, we have very complex issues and problems. And they require bold problem solvers. Now, Oklahoma, you're in luck. I think you might have one of the best bold problem solvers running, challenging your governor and Kevin Stitt. And her name is Joy Hofmeister. Now, this is interesting. You know, they say I'm not bipartisan. I'm this extreme leftist. But Joy Hofmeister is a Republican. Well, she was until she said the Republican Party left her. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. You gotta take a look at how extreme they are. They're way out there. And she said, I just can't take it anymore. Now you're telling colleges and universities what they can and cannot teach. You're restricting women and trying to play their OBGYN doctor and telling women whose lives hang in the balance that they cannot get a medical procedure they need to save their life. She said, I cannot do it anymore. And the main reason, get this, Oklahoma, the main reason she gave was not all their fringe, it's an extremist, QAnon. She didn't say any of that shit. No, she gave a very simplistic reason why she left. She said they're not willing to listen to different perspectives. That's very important. Not willing to listen to different perspectives. Now we're all going to have things that we agree and disagree about. But if you're not willing to listen to different perspectives, then you cannot govern over everyone. Right now, education is a huge issue in the state of Oklahoma. The governor, the current governor, get this, this is what he wants to do. He wants to use state taxpayer dollars to pay tuition for private school students. He's robbing Peter to pay Paul. He wants to take your taxpayer dollars that you spend sending your kids to public school, take that from you, not increase it, not make the schools better. No, he wants to take that money and give it to wealthy parents who can afford to pay their students private tuition, but he wants to give them another voucher. Can you believe it? This is the total dismantlement of the public education system. By stealing our taxpayer dollars. You know, the vast majority of us, the reason we have a public school education system is because the vast majority of us cannot pay to educate our children from grade school to university. That's why the public school system was invented. And they've been attacking teachers, attacking public education for as long as I can remember. But now this stunt to just usurp and steal your taxpayer dollars, to give it to wealthy parents. Oh, this has riled the whole entire state of Oklahoma. To the point where I just saw public research polling stating that the gubernatorial race in Oklahoma is a hell of a dogfight. People are not going for that. They know what that means. They know exactly what that means. I said when I heard this, I said, we gotta get to Tulsa and Oklahoma. I said, I'll see Los Angeles tomorrow, but we're going to Tulsa. This is an affront and an attack to working class parents. Regardless of your ethnicity, this is an affront and an attack to the working class parents of Oklahoma. Working class single mothers, working class single dads. This is an affront and an attack on you. So you'll have two options in Oklahoma if the current governor gets his way. You'll either not be able to afford to pay for your child to go to school, or you'll just have to homeschool your child. Hire some tutor. public polling was saying it's within a point. Anywhere from a point to 3 percentage points. This is a dog fight. See, so it's not just a conservative thing. This is about complex problems and requiring bold problem solvers and not the status quo. Joy Hofmeister is not the status quo. And another thing, Oklahoma, it's time, let me be honest and clear with you, Oklahoma, it's time that women in Oklahoma had a seat at the table. You know, a lot, 100, let me be clear, not a lot, 100% of the nefarious things that have occurred in Oklahoma are a direct result of excluding women from the discussion. So when Joy Hofmeister says listening is important, that's why she left the Republican Party, because of an unwillingness to listen. I hear that too. I understand what she's talking about. It would be a shame in the state of Oklahoma if you got rid of public education. I know there's bozos and extremists that want to do that. But you can't be governed by extremists. Eventually, anybody that's governed solely by extremism is doomed to collapse. I'm just saying, Oklahoma won't make it if Governor Stitt gets his way. What are you going to do with all of those children that aren't going to be able to go to school? Does Governor Kevin Stitt have a solution? No, he doesn't. Not a good one. Not at all. And then you got the United States Senate race. You know, I said, Kendra Horn in a real democracy, who do you want as your voice, your representation? And I said, if the state of Oklahoma could elect Joy Hofmeister as governor and Kendra Horn as senator, things are going to start flipping around and looking on the up and up in Oklahoma. You know, sometimes you don't even know how bad you're down and in the hole. Who thinks Oklahoma is not in a hole? Oklahoma has been in a hole since its inception. It entered the Union as a sundown state. Not a town, not a city, as a state. It's been marred in the hole from the beginning. Now, who do you want in 2022? This is your question. When you go into that booth and you vote, who do you want that's going to get you out of that hole, Oklahoma? want the status quo, if you do, you go and you vote for Kevin Stitt. If you want something brand new and fresh and bold, and it's going to work through complexity by listening, then you vote for Joy Hofmeister and Kendra for governor and senator. And I guarantee you Oklahoma is going to take off like a stallion. I guarantee it. But you gotta try something new. We've had men after men after men after men after men after men after men. We've never had any women run shit in Oklahoma. Einstein put it best. If you do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity. Oklahoma, please don't do the same thing again in 2022. Try something new in 22. You just might like it. You know, I know it's going to be difficult for Oklahomans. They've been brainwashed for so long to say and think that Democrats are bad for them. But Oklahoma, sometimes you can think something is really bad for you. And it'll turn out to be good. And vice versa. What I'm saying, if you've done that before, and you know what you're going to get with Kevin Stitt in the Republican Party in Oklahoma, give Joy and Kendra a chance. Invest in women leadership in Oklahoma. And you might be surprised, you might get something brand new and better for all Oklahomans, not just for a handful. It's going to be close. Let your friends know. If they don't, let them know. Put up signs. Be bold. We all know we've got to get a lot of these things done. And quickly, with haste. They're not going to get it done. The guys who've been running Oklahoma are not going to fix Oklahoma. What I'm asking you to do is give the gals a chance. Because they've never had a chance in Oklahoma. All Oklahomans have never had a chance. Let's see if we can change that in 2022.